Hi, friends, and welcome to the Friend Leigh Show. I am your host and friend, Leigh. I'm so excited that you are here. I've just got to go on and do a little bit of housekeeping just to make sure that all of you guys can watch it. I don't know why Facebook makes me do this every time. Facebook, if you're listening, because you listen to everything I do, if you could just kind of go in there and make this go live without me having to change it every single time. That would be very helpful. Okay, there we go. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am so excited for tonight's show, and I'm really hoping that you guys are going to be here watching live because that is my favorite part of the show. So, if you are new to the Friend Leigh Show, welcome. And what we do here is a little different than most podcasts. First of all, there's a video portion of it. We go live with video every Wednesday at 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, or whatever the equivalent is for you. And then what we do is while I'm having a conversation with you, you are in the comments. And so you get to be here live, but you could be in your PJs if you want, because you're not going to come up on screen. And I am going to bring your comments up as you say them. So you're really part of the conversation. So if you're listening to this in the replay, make sure that you head on over. We stream on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitch. And it's live every Wednesday at 7:30. So I really hope to see you guys here. The way that we lay out the show is every month we've got a theme. And then every week, we take one of the pillars from the Happy Framework and we look at that theme through the lens of that pillar. And so this week, we are going to be talking about the first P in Happy. And nope, that was last week. This week, we are going to be talking about the second P in Happy. Which is partnerships. And the theme this month that we've been talking about is bullying. So we've been talking about bullying, not only like when we think of it kind of as kids, what the kids are going through, but really it's, what we're going through as an adult too. And so there was a distinction that was made by one of our listeners during the show last week, which was really important. And she was explaining, she's a teacher, and she was explaining that there is a distinction between being mean and being a bully. And the way that she described it is, you can have moments of being mean. You can say things that you didn't mean. You can do things that you're kind of like, oh man, that was mean. I'm sorry. But bullying is kind of like an enduring kind of thing that you're constantly doing it and you're really causing harm for somebody else. And so that distinction was really, really big. So when we're going to be carrying on this conversation, we are looking at bullying in that more excessive thing, because when we're being mean, sometimes we don't realize that we're doing it. Sometimes, it's also people can perceive us as being mean because they're triggered by things that we say, which is not necessarily our fault if we were not being intentionally mean, if that makes sense to you. So we are going to be talking about bullying, but we can also look at it through the lens of just being kind to each other. Like, we really need to be kinder. We need to be sweeter. We need to be softer with people. And that doesn't make us any less. It actually makes us, that means that we're stronger. If we can be kind to people, especially being kind to people that are not kind to us, to me, that's a strength. To me, that's a win. To me, that is a characteristic, that not a lot of people have. And that if you have that, or if you're working on creating that, that's something really, really special. So, hey, Blenda. Hi, I'm so happy that you're here. That's so cool. So we are going to be talking about bullying, and then we're going to be talking about how partnerships and strengthening our partnerships can help with bullying. It can help us kind of protect ourselves from the impact of bullying. And so what I do is I will be like kind of not looking at your comments now for the next couple minutes. I'm going to share a few notes that I've taken that I kind of want to use as a branching off point. And then I'm going to come back and share your comments, and we're going to start having a real conversation around it, because I think it's really, really important. So, one of the things that I wanted to talk to you guys about. So, how are we going to be using partnerships? And when we're talking about partnerships, we're talking about all the relationships, all of them. How can we use our relationships to kind of fight bullying? And one of the simplest things, I was on a podcast, a Sear show this morning, and it was a really, really good conversation. We were talking about joy, we were talking about resilience, we were talking about all the things. And we were actually talking about the happy framework at one point, and we were talking about how just in passing, you can just smile at somebody, and that might be the first or the only time that that person is going to feel acknowledged and seen, and how important that is. And Seafood, the host of the show, was sharing a story about how he knew a person that was on the verge of committing suicide. And the sorry guys, it's just miraculous to me how the smallest gestures can really change people's lives. So he was telling us about how a person was considering committing suicide, and they were just at the end of their rope, and they were done, and they were that was the day that they were going to take their life because they didn't feel seen. They nobody cared. Life would be better for everybody around them if they weren't there. And I think it was he smiled at them, or somebody in his family had smiled at them, and it changed everything for them. That they were like, "Oh my gosh, somebody does see me. Somebody somebody liked what they saw when they saw me. They smiled at me. They weren't just mean to me. They weren't ignoring me." And later on, that individual went to that person and thanked them and told them the story that that day everything changed when they simply smiled at them. And it sounds exaggerated, but I've heard that story from other people. Um, and so I think in partnership, we need to remember that partnership is not just the relationships that we're having with people that are significant to us. It's not with our partner. It's not with our brothers and sisters and mother and father and boss and employees. It's with everybody that we come into contact with. And sometimes those interactions um, are more powerful than what they're hearing from their family and from their close friends. So that is the number one thing, that if we can remember that story and realize that our words and our reactions to people matter, I think that can help. So in the frame of bullying, if somebody is being bullied all the time, whether it's at somebody at school or somebody at work or somebody at home, and that's what they think they deserve, and that's all that they're getting, and then they get light from you. They get a smile, they get a hello, um, maybe even they get a hug. That can change everything for them because it changes the narrative, right? So that is really, really important. And these connections create strength in the person. And so it doesn't have to be a lifelong connection. It can just be a connection in passing. So that is really, really important. And, people feel isolated. So even if they're not being bullied in a way that is berating to them, that they're not being made fun of, but they're not being included, and they feel like they're isolated by just showing kindness to them, they all of a sudden do not feel as isolated. And I know that to be true for all of us. It's true for me. That's absolutely, when I am out and I'm walking, I can be in my head sometimes. But then if somebody passes me and we make eye contact and we have that connection, that momentary connection, it changes everything. Um, and then the other thing, so all these little things that we can be doing to each other and with each other, even just quickly in passing. The other thing is we need to be building a support network, and we need to be looking for that support network. And it might not be your family, and it might not be the friends that you have right now, but we need to build a connection with people that we can feel like we can trust. And so, maybe finding a mentor, and having open conversations with people and being curious about other people. So if you're feeling isolated, if you're feeling like nobody cares, nobody's asking about you, ask about other people. And we can start, because sometimes we isolate ourselves and we start creating this narrative that we don't belong, or that nobody cares about us, or nobody's listening to us, or but if we can start being curious about other people, if we can give what we want, then we may receive it in return. And maybe not from that person, but maybe from somebody else. So I think we need to start giving more of the relationship that we're looking for from other people, to other people. You know, there's too much of that. Well, you didn't call me, so I didn't call you. Well, you didn't come over, so I'm not going over. Well, you didn't do this, so I'm not doing that. But do you see how, if you do this, if you say that, and they say that same thing, then there will never be any meeting. There will never be any connection. And so sometimes it's as simple as, we're not being honest with where we are and what we need. Another thing is not asking for what we need. So, there's a lot of times that, suicide happens to people, um, and, the people that are survivors outside of it. So the family, the friends, and they say, I didn't even see this coming. I didn't even know. And I'm not blaming the person that decided that they needed to end their life. But if they're not sharing what they're going through, how are people to know? You know? Um, and so I think we need to start sharing when we're struggling, because all of us have struggled, especially right now. And I don't mean Christmas time. I just mean right now, in the macro of where we are as a people. Everybody is struggling with something. And so I think we need to start talking more about, not to fixate on the struggle, because we always talk about what we focus on, we create. So we don't want to focus on, the illness and the hurt and the pain and the suffering. We don't want to focus on it. But if we can connect with each other on it and help each other find ways out of it, that's where the power comes in. And so I think we need to start talking about it, because not talking about it and expecting somebody to know what we're thinking is really unfair, because a lot of us want to help. I just think about people in my life, and you assume that everybody's okay. You assume if nobody's saying anything, then they're okay. And then you find out later, oh my gosh, I had no idea you were going through fill in the blank, whatever it was. And I think we need to start talking more about that. So these partnerships, they go two ways. The partnerships will build strength. They will help with isolation. And we need to go into these partnerships and these conversations with empathy, not with judgment, but with empathy. Bullies thrive on loneliness and thrive on shame. They know that if you have shame, then I can get in there and I could treat you any way that I want. And so we need to stop with the shame game, because sometimes we're doing it and we don't even know. There's the saying, "Oh, shame on you! I can't believe you did that." Shame on you is a saying that we use that we don't even think about what we're doing. And so we need to start thinking about the words that we're using, and we need to start going to people with empathy, realizing that their situation may not be your situation. Their struggle may not be your struggle, but I can guarantee that you've been in struggle before. And so you can look at people that are going through whatever that is, even if it's drugs and you've never done drugs before, even if it's alcoholism and you've never done alcoholism or had a drink, even if it is abuse and you've never been in an abusive, whatever it is, you can come with empathy, knowing that you too have been hurt. You too have had struggle. So it does not need to be the same struggle. You just need to reach out and come at it with, I know things are hard. And how can I best support you? How are you feeling right now? You know? So we need to start asking better questions. We need to start being more empathetic. We need to lay off of the judgment and the labels. Um, so those are just some of the things that I want to talk on. That's it. There's a lot there that I think we're going to be able to discuss. Um, and then the other thing too is uh, where it becomes a little bit challenging is when you see somebody being bullied. Sometimes it's hard to stop it because you're afraid. You don't know what their relationship is, you don't know what their situation is, you don't know, if you reach out, then are you going to be attacked or hurt? Or so I always want to make sure that you're being safe in whatever you do, but trust your instinct. Trust your instinct. And that's actually a double-edged sword too. Until you start really working on what your instinct is, sometimes your instinct, fear and anger and things like that can be construed as instinct. So we've got to be careful there too. So, but I want you to be careful, but I want you to start thinking about when you're seeing something, maybe hang around just a little bit longer, just to make sure that it's not playing out worse than it should. And then maybe when it's dissipated, you can go to that person and ask them if they're okay. Be there for them or call somebody else to come along. I think we need to start stepping up a little bit more. We need to be careful. I do not want anybody going into a situation that is going to put them at harm. But I think we need to start being a little bit more kinder and vigilant about what's going on around us. And I'm going to give my disclaimer now. Sometimes I do it at the beginning of the show and sometimes I forget and then it comes out something like this. So I am not a healthcare professional. So I just want to let you guys know that anything that you hear in this show, it is truly just coming from your friend. And anything that you hear in the comments that become a part of this show, we are all just here for entertainment and education based on our own experience. So if you hear of anything, please always use your common sense. And if you think it's something that you need to look at for your health, whether it's mental health or physical health, whatever it may be, please go to a healthcare professional. So there we go. So now let's see if we've got anybody here. What? Okay. Morning. Pops is in the house. So he says, treat others as you want to be treated always. Yes, that's me. I'm struggling. Okay. So do you want to share about what you're struggling with tonight? We're here. So, but that's it. We're all struggling. We all have something that we are working on, that we're working through, that we really need to have more empathy for the people around us. It's really difficult. So years ago, I was so deep into all or nothing. So deep into just, mind over matter. And if you think positively, then positive things will come. And although I still believe that, I still do believe that what we think we create, I didn't want to see any of the ugly. I didn't want to see any of the struggle. I didn't want to admit that I had any struggle. And that was really dangerous. That was really dangerous for me. It was dangerous for people around me. And it created a little bit of a wall because people didn't feel like they could really connect with me. So I've had a lot of really, really good conversations with a lot of really, really good friends throughout the years. And I'm lucky that despite me being that way, more of the Pollyanna kind of way, they felt safe that they could share with me, that they could open up with me. But it was only close people that felt like they could do that. It wasn't just anybody that could do that because I wasn't open about any kind of struggle because, I kind of grew up that it's, my nana, like you just grew up that what, happens in the house stays in the house. I was lucky enough that nothing really bad was happening in the house. So it wasn't like I felt like I needed to go tell somebody and I couldn't. It was just like, okay, so what happens in the family stays in the family. We don't talk about our stuff. We don't air our dirty laundry. Like all of these sayings um makes it difficult to really connect. And I have shared my, because of the podcast, this podcast and the other podcast, First Day Pod that we did in the beginning, um, that's what really made it easy for me to start opening up. Mike, my fiance, husband, um, he's really helped me realize that we need to be opening up and sharing what's really going on. Man, this is a big one for me. I don't know. Like we've been talking about this all month. For some reason, when we're talking about partnerships and connection, I'm just really realizing how hard it is for people. And it's just such a big, big topic and a big conversation. So I'm really happy that you guys are here. Pop says, just not being able to work a real job and support my family makes a man feel worthless. Okay, here's the thing. I get that. We were just talking about this at a luncheon that I was at. We were talking about how different it is for um, men versus women, Mars versus Venus. How we look because of kind of historically what we were supposed to be doing. And unfortunately, men carry a little bit more of the burden of needing to support their family and having that worth that's attached to supporting their family. But I can tell you, um, you know, I shouldn't speak for Mel. I shouldn't speak for everybody, but I can tell you, for me, and for a lot of the women that I talk to, it does not matter about roles. It doesn't matter about who makes more money or who does what. It's a matter of a partnership that both people feel supported, not supported financially, because you guys will figure that out. You'll figure out who's able to make the money to be able to take care of the finances and the experiences that you guys want to have. But outside of that, there is so much support that needs to be happening in a partnership. And so when we say things like, I need to support my family, support is not just financial. Support means so much more. And when we focus just on the financial, we get into a really big problem. So I don't know what your situation is, with you and with Mel. I do know that Mel's got a job. She's got a good job. And I also know something to be true, that yes, money can help with comfort. We need money. I'm not naive to say, oh my gosh, just do what you want to do and it's fine. We don't need money. We need money. It's true. We need money. But we actually don't need as much money as we have been led to believe that we need. And, I was just having a conversation with somebody where we were talking about, sometimes having to look at our money and decide what's important and what's not important. Sometimes when we have a lot of money, it's like we don't even take the time to prioritize anything because it's like nothing matters. It's just like, oh, I'll just get this and we'll get that and we'll get this and we'll do this. And you're not really questioning, like, what am I spending my money on? What am I doing? And so sometimes when we have less money in there, of course, it's a huge problem, and it affects our happiness and our peace and our health and all the things if we can't pay our basic needs, right? I totally get that. But that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about this whole thing about the man supposed to support our family just financially. If you can be there and support emotionally and support with all of the rest of the things that have to happen in a home. It's not just the money that comes in, it's all of the other things. And I think sitting down and having a real conversation about let's lay this all out on the table and see all of the things that need to be done in order to make our house the home that we want it to be. And then let's figure out who can do what, who's able to do what, and what feels good. And not worrying about society telling us who's supposed to be doing what. You know? Yes, as a woman, I'm supposed to be cooking and cleaning. Guess what? That doesn't happen. I never cook. Mike is the cook in the house. Mike takes care of that. He knows that if I'm left, and I have to like cook on my own, there will not be a meal that will be had. I will actually be okay with just like having a bag of Tostitos and cheese. Like I'm okay. Like I don't need to be cooking. I don't really enjoy it. I'm starting to like doing it with him is fun. Um, but that doesn't make me feel like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? As a woman, I should be providing those services. I also don't want to have children. And that was a big one for women. That's a big one where, I am supposed to, quote unquote, as a woman, that's supposed to be my big purpose is to have children and procreate and let that legacy continue. And I don't want to. And I need to honor that. And so, Pops, I just want you to question what you said and just kind of look at it. And look at what, a real job means and figure out what you guys need and just start looking at it with a different perspective. 2025, just look at it with a different perspective, not in what you can't do, but in what you are providing, because I know you're a good man. And I know that Mel is so grateful for the relationship that you guys have. And that means a lot, like a lot, a lot. So, anyway, total sidebar, but, welcome to my living room. That's what happens. The conversations. It's so funny. I was just on a walk with a girlfriend earlier this week and actually over the weekend. And we had talked about so many things that I got home and then I was like, oh my gosh. So this was a super important conversation that we started and we never finished. So, let me know when you can get back on the phone because I need to talk to you about this. Like it was something that was kind of serious. But we had like bing, 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 bing everywhere with the conversation and we never like actually circled back. So welcome to my living room. This podcast is like as if you're sitting in my family room with me. We're all on our couch and we're just having a conversation. It starts one way with with the theme of the month and with our happy pillar that we're working on. But then it will always detour for what needs to happen within the conversation. So, all right. So let's see if there is anything else in here. I do not see anything. Okay. So I would love to hear like from you guys going into, so next week is the big holiday week and we are going to be dealing with a lot of relationships and partnerships, both with family that's close, family that maybe we only see once a year, with friends, with people in retail. I have been hearing horror stories from people in retail. You guys, stop being so mean to your cashier. Stop being so mean to the person that's working behind the counter. So we're going to be having a lot of those relationship partnerships in the next couple weeks. What are some tips that you have for how you show up? Even if you're having a bad day, how do you show up with the people around you? I'd love to hear what your tips are. Oh, hello, sound guy. Okay. So traditional gender roles are dead. Well, I wish that were true. Unfortunately, some people still believe them. There are 1,000 ways to support a family and a partner. Here we go. Time, attention, wisdom, kindness, spiritual, education, an ear. Each contributes a share of it. Yes, 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 yes. Amen. Yeah, this traditional gender roles thing is just, it's so archaic, but it's so ingrained in us that there is that guilt. There is that feeling. It's true. It's there. I still get now because people are talking a lot about, people being having going through the whole IVF and all those kinds of things where their fertility is in question. They're not able to have kids. They're all of these things. And so now when I say I don't want to have children or I don't have kids, actually that's the question that I get a lot is like, "Oh, are you a mom?" It's like, "No." And they're like, "Oh, okay." And they think that something is wrong, like it's not a choice. They think that something's wrong and that I'm not able to. And I'm actually really happy. I mean, that's the wrong thing to say, just because I don't mean it. I'm not happy that people are having such a struggle with that, but I'm happy that people are having such conversations about that because it's opening up people to realize that the not only the traditional gender roles, but the traditional, what couples look like and what families look like all look so different now. And so we're able to have those conversations. And that's what I love about the show is that we're able to have different conversations to be able to like buck what everybody is thinking we need to do and be. So, yes, sound guide, all of those time, attention, wisdom, kindness, all of it. And we need to be giving ourselves 100%. Just like we talked last week or last month when we were talking about the 4 agreements, we always have to be giving our best, especially in our relationships. And that's not always going to look like 100% of a good day, but we need to be giving grace. We need to be giving peace. We need to be giving patience to our partner just as much as we have to be giving all of the other things. So, I think we need to start having more of the real conversations with our partners. So in our romantic relationships, but really any relationship, we need to start being more honest about what we need. Here's a really good example, actually. I've got a couple girlfriends that we are going to be getting together in person to do a vision board day. And so we're really excited about it. We were. And then it started getting to, okay, where are we going to have it? And then it started getting to, okay, well now if there's going to be 5 of us, and it started becoming this thing. And everybody's burning out. They're like, I don't really want to host it. I want to get together, but I don't want to host it. I don't want to do all the cleaning. I don't want to do cooking. And so one of my girlfriends that was going to have it at her house, she was like, "You know what? This is really hard for me to say, but I really don't want to host. I just want to do it, but I don't want all of the cleanup and all of the things." And I was like, "Okay, that's great. Thank you so much for telling me." So then I decided we're not hosting it at anybody's house. We're going to host it at my condo in our activity room. Everybody's going to bring their own stuff. So not a potluck, not a bring a thing to share. If you're going to be hungry, bring something. There's a kitchen up there. Put it in the stove, put it in the fridge, put it wherever you need to put it, and you can eat during that time. If you're not going to be hungry, don't bring food. If you're going to be thirsty, bring something to drink. If you need caffeine, bring a coffee. Like bring whatever you want, just come. So we need to start having those conversations because that would have been very easy for my girlfriend not to say anything and for her to host and for her to be stressed out the day before to like clean and do all the things. She wouldn't have enjoyed the couple hours that we're going to be together. She would have resented the fact that we all just showed up and she had to do all these things, which nobody asked her to do any of it, but you have these rules of these things that we think we need to do. And so we just had a really honest conversation. And then I just reached out to my other girlfriends and I was like, "Hey, here's what it is. I'm not putting on a workshop. I'm not doing my vision board workshop for this one. It's going to just be we're all showing up and we're there to do it together the way we want to do it. It might look different for everybody, but we just want to be in connection with each other. That's it. Because if I do it workshop style, I don't get to do it because I'm going to be watching everybody else and helping other people. And being a leader of a workshop is very different than taking part in it. And so I think we have to have those conversations. So Pops, I think you need to have that conversation clearly about what that looks like in 2025. What does your relationship look like? What maybe even you may have resentments or she may have resentments. Talk about them. It's a lot easier to talk about them now while you guys are still together and communicating than to have to talk about those later when everything is broken apart. So, partnerships are so funny. They're so interesting because we always think that, first of all, we think a lot of people are doing better than we are. And the other thing is that we think that a lot of the time, we think that we're the only one that is feeling the way that we're feeling in the relationship. Where if we could have the conversation, we'll see that our partner is probably feeling very similar to us in certain things. So I think we need to have those conversations. I don't know why my trackpad isn't working on my computer. Anyway, that's an aside, but annoying all day today. Okay, so Sound Guy says, For Agreement says communication is a person's biggest fear. Hats off to your friend for just speaking the real truth and also knowing her limits and boundaries. Amen. Yeah, I was really, really, really proud of her. And I think that's something, it's really cool. The friends that I have now were very different than the friend group that I had even 5 years ago. And I think that the more that we can be clear and open about the things that we need, it almost gives permission for everybody around you to be the same way, you know? So yeah, I'm super proud of her for saying something. The way that she said it was, the way that she said is, I really don't want to host. I really don't want to entertain. I just want to have, I want to be able to do the thing. And then she did say, so can we have it at my house, but can you help me clean after? And I was like, yes, I could help you clean after. But then knowing how she was feeling about it, it really didn't matter if I helped clean or not, because she would still feel that she was hosting, you know? And sometimes our feelings, those will dictate our experience more than the actual situation. So we could have set up everything around it, but she would have still felt like she was entertaining, you know, and not been able to be fully invested. Yeah, communication, yeah, super scary, super vulnerable. Like people were not used to that. We're not used to saying what we need. I met this lady, I went to a funeral maybe 2 months ago. And the like funeral director that was there, she really got to like me. She is so sweet. She's awesome. Diane, if you're listening to this, hello. So she's really, really, really sweet. I actually shouldn't have said that because I want to tell you a story, but now I don't want to say that it's about her. Anyway, okay, I'm just going to say this anyway, because Diana, I'm super proud of you. Okay, so she's a new friend now. So now we've connected and we talk and it's so sweet. And she was telling me that she, you know, has started seeing this gentleman. But she was like, you know, I don't want to say what I need this early because I don't want to seem needy. Like I want him to know that he should be doing these things and saying these things and whatever it is. And I was like, well, how is he supposed to know what you need if you don't tell him? And I know that that's like, we want that mystery of like, oh, they just really know me. I was like, but like, there's a lot of days that I don't know me. There's a lot of days that I don't know what I need. And so to expect somebody else to know exactly what you need, I don't think it's fair to them, but also to us, because then we go days or maybe weeks or maybe months or years without having our needs fully fulfilled. And so I think that that's where this conversation, like having a conversation with people that matter in our life, why it's so important. I think we need to start having these conversations because we need to start saying what we want. And we need to be okay if that other person can't reciprocate, if they can't give you what they want, what you want. We have to be okay with that. But we have to look at it like, okay, it would be better to know that they are not willing to give that of what you need than to just hope for the next 6 years that they're going to turn out that way, you know? Britt, I have been watching the time. I have been watching. You are absolutely right. So he says almost time for rapid fire. So yes, I have it right here and I've been watching. I'm like, okay, I think we're going to wrap up. So yes, so I think conversations, I think that is going to be the big, let me take that down. That's going to be the big thing for partnerships, for relationships. And sometimes for bullying, like sometimes having a conversation with somebody, maybe not in front of their peer group. So like if a bully is trying to bully because they're trying to get attention, we know that's the wrong attention. We do. But like calling them out in front of their so-called friends isn't going to help the situation. But if you're able to have conversation with them outside of other people hearing and just saying, "Hey, can I ask you, like, why do you feel like you enjoy, it seems like you enjoy making fun of me, or it seems like you enjoy making me hurt. Why is that?" And then stop and then just wait to see what they say. Will it always work? No. But sometimes it will, because sometimes people also don't realize how hurtful they are, you know? Yeah. Anyway, interesting. If you guys are listening to this in the replay, whether you're on Facebook, Instagram, or not Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and you're listening to it and you have things that you want to share, please email us at the Friend Leigh, Leigh show at gmail.com, or put it in the comments here, and we'll, it won't be part of the show if you're in the replay. But we would love to see your reactions to what we're talking about. So next week is Christmas. So what do we do? Do we want to, I'm going to leave, this is where the boundaries are going to come in for me. I've got to see what's going on. I think I'm going to do the show. It might be a shorter show. Because if you guys aren't here, then, half the show is gone, because half the show is your connection with me. But I'm going to still do the show on Christmas. So it'll be 7:30 on Christmas Day. We will be back here Eastern, 6:30 Central, or whatever it is for you. And yeah, we're just going to keep that up, because you know what? I love this show. I absolutely love it. And I'm, hoping you guys might be able to stop in and say hi, but if not, that's okay. So next week we are going to be talking about, we are going to be talking about youthfulness. So that might be a little bit of a trickier one to be talking about when it comes to bullying, but I have some ideas of what we can be talking about. So if you want to join us, that's what we'll be talking about. And then also, maybe talking about what we did for Christmas. I don't know. Anyway, so let's get to this. So I am going to just pick a couple of these cards, and we're going to do a rapid fire. Okay. So 1, 2, I don't know what these are. So 3. Okay. So this is the way it goes. If you're new to the show, I'm going to read all 3. You can start putting your answers into the chat or into the comments. I suggest that you just start writing your answer and then clicking enter. So you do one at a time. Okay. Because if you wait to answer all 3 at one time, then I'm going to be waiting here for a few minutes. So I'm going to read all 3, and then you can start answering them as you go. Okay. So here we go. So the first one is, if you could have any fictional ability to control minds, what would it be and why? If you could have any fictional ability to control minds, what would it be and why? See, I'm a little bit confused about that one, but does that mean like the way that you would control it? Like what they would, yeah, maybe that's what it is. Like, I don't know. Interpret it any way you want and then answer it. I'll come back and answer it the way I think I would answer it. So number 2 is, if you could replace your feet with any object, what would you choose? That's a weird one. Okay, so that's fun. Sometimes they're real good. Sometimes, they are what they are. And the third one is, what is your favorite way to give back to your community or help others? We all know what my favorite one is. So there's the 3. So you guys can start answering those. I love this because I do like getting to know you guys a little bit better. And I've always wanted to know what object you would put on your feet. So let's go to it. So the first one was, if you could have any fictional ability to control minds, what would it be and why? Hmm. If I could, so I'm interpreting that as like I'm able to control some portion of your mind to think a certain way. And I'm torn because I don't know. I feel like I would want to make sure that you don't take anything personal. Um, if I could do that, I feel like that would help a lot. Um, maybe that maybe that one would be, or if I could get everybody. I don't, this is a hard one. This is a big one. I don't know. So yeah, I kind of would like that. Yeah, to make nobody, like your mind would never take anything personally. Hmm. I don't know how that would play out because it sounds really good, but then yeah, I think I like that one until you guys argue it and then we could like figure something else out. But I can't wait to hear what your answers are. So go ahead and share your answers on that one. If you could have any fictional ability to control minds, what would it be and why? Pop says one is too weird. Be able to make someone forget, maybe? Yeah. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. That also sounds dangerous because then it sounds like, for me, that feels like what you're gonna like do something, you're gonna be a jerk, and then you're just gonna be like, boop, you forgot about that one, didn't you? Haha. So I don't know. It is a hard one. That's a weird question. Okay. So the next one is, if you could replace any feet with any or replace your feet with any object, what would you choose? And Pop says, I would replace my feet with Fred Astaire's feet. Aw, you want to dance? Is that why? That's very nice. That's a good one. Yeah, I was like, oh, like your mind just goes to rollerblades. So then you'd be so much faster. But then I was like, I would be falling all the time. So that's not what I want. Hmm. Kind of clouds. I think that would be kind of neat if my feet were clouds and I could always be like, oh, look at her. She's walking on clouds. I don't know. Those two are weird for me. Okay, so I don't know. I want to hear what your answers are, you guys too. Sound guy, if you're still here, let us know those two questions. And then this last one is a goodie. What is your favorite way to give back to your community or help others? I say it all the time. All the time. My favorite way is to acknowledge people. That's my favorite way. And it's just magic. And if I'm in a city where unfortunately there are people on the side of the street, if I have time, I stop and I say hi and I talk to them, and I at least acknowledge them. Like I cannot believe that I have to say that. I have to say that I acknowledge them, like that, because most people don't, and that I think it's just gross. Like I see when I go to big cities and people are like literally like walking over people and they just like ignore it. Like, I don't know. So that's mine. Mine is acknowledging people is my favorite way to give back. Um, oh, that's a good one. Yep. That's good. My favorite way is to give my time. That's huge. That's really, really huge. And it helps like when we do things like that, it really does help our happiness. Science proves it. When we give our time to other people, it helps our happiness. So, we can throw money at things. It does not feel the same. If I give, if I give $50 to the soup kitchen versus if I go and I work in the food bank for, 3 or 4 hours, very different feeling. Very different feeling. Maybe a similar in the return, maybe, but a very different feeling. So yes, giving my time, that's a big one, Pops. I think that's really good. Okay. So If we don't have anybody else that's sharing their 3 rapid fire, let's do one more. I like these, and hopefully we'll get one that's like not. That last one was good, but let's see if we'll get one that's like not weird and like lets me get to know you. What? No. Oh, maybe. Okay. So, if you could have any fictional artifact that grants you eternal youth, what would it be and why? My head hurts. Okay, so if you could have any fictional artifact that grants you eternal youth, what would it be and why? Okay. I don't know. I'm going to go over here. We've got some things here, so let's go to that, and then maybe you guys will have answers for that. Sound Guy says, control minds. No thanks. Sure, it would make things easier, but ethics say we shouldn't control free will. If I had to, then give people something to smile about. Oh, that's good. I like that. Okay. Yeah, that's good. I agree. The controlling the minds is really, really a slippery slope and a difficult thing to even fathom because it's happening every day, all day. Okay. Pop says, I'm going to have a subathon for my stream next month, and every subscription gets to control any 2-hour block of time for me to stream. Wait a minute. Explain that to me. I'm going to have a subathon for my stream next month, and every subscription gets to control any 2-hour block of time for me to stream. So, oh my gosh. One of my goals before 2025 is for me to understand Twitch. Okay. So what does that mean? So like if you like subscribe to your channel on Twitch, then I get to say what you spend 2 hours of your time on. And is it only racing? Is it only iRacing, like a certain race or something? Or do I get to say like, oh, you gotta read a storybook to somebody online? I don't know. What does it mean? Explain it to me, because I am still trying to learn this. Okay. Oh, Sound Guy says, my feet, it would be rollerblades. Yeah. Okay. You're more coordinated than I am. So yes, that's where my mind went first. And then I was like, I have fallen every single time I've tried. So no. And then Britt says, okay, so if you could have any fictional artifact that grants you eternal youth, what would it be and why? And then he said the Holy Grail. Easy. Okay. Yeah. Okay. See, I got too into it where I was like, okay, well, I don't know. I actually don't know where my mind was going with that one. So, I don't even really know how to answer it. I will say, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I am. Okay. So, Pop says, I'm an affiliate. So there are commercials. If you subscribe, you get no commercials. Oh, okay, cool. So how much is it to subscribe to somebody on a Twitch? Did I ask that question properly? Explain that to me. And then what does it mean about controlling those 2 hours? I don't get it. Okay. Sound Guy said, it's okay to screen these cars beforehand, Leigh. Yeah. So here's the thing. I was going to do that. In the beginning, I was like, oh, I'm going to grab a couple questions and then I'm going to like say, okay, these are the questions for today. However, we have done this like 4 times or 5 times and they've all been pretty good. Like they've all been like, so I didn't realize that there were like not weirdo, but weird ones. So yeah, maybe I will do that, or maybe I'll make up my own that I just want to know about you guys. And this is a good one. So I just pulled this one. This is the one that we're going to end with. Okay. So what is one thing that you are grateful for today? So let's end on that, you guys. Super, super important for us to have gratitude. So Pop says, so any subscriber can say, I want you to stream from 2 to 4 a.m. or whenever they want. Oh, okay. Yikes. But then what do you do about your sleep? Please be careful. Okay. So $8.99 a month. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. Still don't get it. I still need to look into this whole Twitch thing. I don't even know how we got on there, but I'm grateful we did, because Pops, you're like one of the main guys that are here. Who else? Okay. So what are you guys grateful for? For me, I'm grateful for you guys. Because the show, I don't know that I would still would I be on episode 53 if I didn't have you guys here and having a conversation every week? Probably not. I don't think I would be doing the show if I didn't have you guys. I think that's true. I don't think I would. Oh, sound guy, I'm grateful for the show. Duh. Why does this feel like my gratitude journal? Are you doing the gratitude journal? Are you doing it every day? Tell me. Mel says, hey, beautiful. Well, hello. Hi, your hubby's been here. I missed you. So let me see if I can remember. I just listened to a really great podcast about journaling. And oh, shoot. Now that I'm like putting myself on the spot, I don't know if I'm going to remember the 3 questions. There were 3 questions that you ask yourself in the morning, and then 3 questions that you ask yourself at night. The 3 questions in the morning, one of them was, what is my number 1 priority of the day? Because, when that word came into existence, it was priority, not my priorities. So it was always like your priority. What's the number 1 thing that if you got this one thing done, then you would feel like it was a successful day? Excuse me. And I've been doing too much talking today, guys. Excuse me. Sorry. And so that's one question. If you can ask yourself that first thing in the morning, as you go, you're going to be able to hone that into what's really important to you. And you're going to realize that if it was a weekday and I asked myself that, immediately my mind goes to my career and what I have to accomplish. But really what's important is, my connection with my family. That's what's important to me, is my health. That's what's important to me. So prioritizing those things, that's your 1 priority for the day, is, maybe going for a walk in the morning, or maybe that day it's, having dinner with your spouse, or it might be, having half an hour that you just play with the kids and no expectations, just whatever they want to do, you just play with the kids for 30 minutes. Whatever that is figuring that out. And it's kind of like a gratitude journal, but it's asking, for you to prioritize that one thing, and then you can be grateful about it after. And so it was like a reverse engineering kind of thing. And then what is one thing that you are grateful for? But instead of 3 to 5, oh my gosh, we're going to have to wrap up pretty soon, because I don't think I can talk very much longer. And in the gratitude, instead of 3 to 4 things, just picking one thing. Because if we start focusing on just one thing that we're grateful for every day, that becomes a habit. And oh my gosh, this is so funny. That becomes a habit, and that's something that we can do no matter what. When it's like this drawn out thing, I have to do 5 things that I'm grateful for every day, we lose it. We don't do it all the time. But it's great to just be able to do it once. So sound guy, he says, no. Okay. So maybe try that. Maybe try one thing. Like, what is your 1 priority for the day? And then what is one thing that you're grateful for? And then the other question, it was really good. It was, what is one, I can't remember what the word was, but it was like characteristic. What's one characteristic that you want to show the world that day? So is that patience? Is that love? Is that kindness? Is it curiosity? What is it? And that's kind of your theme for the day of what you want to show the world. I thought it was pretty cool. So Mel just said, I just got home. Well, I'm glad you're here, even just to say hi. And Mel says, yes, I do a grateful journey every day. Oh, that's awesome. Journal, I'm assuming. That's awesome. Very, very good. Do you do it in the morning or at night? I'm curious. And then sound guy says, sounds like mind control. Yes, it is mind control. Yep. It's the good kind though. It's the good kind. And then Mel says, can you repeat the fast round questions? No, they're awful. Okay, so I will. I'll do them really quickly, but we are going to be wrapping up. So I will tell you, here are my two favorites. What is one thing that you're grateful for today? And then the other one was, what is your favorite way to give back to your community or help others? Those were my two favorite. And then these were the other three kind of bozo ones. If you could have any fictional ability to control minds, what would it be and why? If you could replace your feet with any object, what would you choose? And if you could have any fictional artifact that grants you eternal youth, what would it be and why? So, sound guy, I think you're right. I think I might be creating the cards for the next couple times that we do this, and not leave it to chance, because these are a little silly. Mel says that she does her gratitude in the morning. That's awesome. Very good. Yeah. Okay. So you guys, this was so good. I absolutely love this freaking show. So thank you so much for being here, all of you. I love you so much. If you're not here next week, I totally get it. And so if I don't see you, please have a Merry Christmas. I do hope to see you guys over in the Happy Circle. You can check it out. It's free. And you can come on over there. It is no, it is not. It is hellohappiness.ca. And you can find the link there and just kind of come on in. And I'll be there, in between. So if you guys want, come on over there. If not, then I will see you maybe in 2025 if I don't see you next week. Okay. So if I don't see you, have a wonderful holiday. Please take care of yourself and have a very happy new year. Please be safe. I love you. And I will see you. I'm also going to be here on New Year's Day on the 1st. So if you guys want to be here for that too, then I would love it. And if not, I will see you guys on the, whatever that is. Would it be the 8th? The 8th. All right. Love you. Bye.